I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time from Andrew Chilton. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to send in a request for pretty much any type of video, could be random, could be a review, re-review, a list, a topic, what have you, just send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now, The Lone Ranger, I think this was a 2013 film, give or take. I have seen this film before. It's not the first time I've seen this. And I know there are people who enjoy the film. And if you enjoyed, that's cool. There's one scene in the third act, goes on about 10 minutes, that I think is an enjoyable sequence. The railroad scene where you have one train and one train facing opposite each other, and they're going and going, and they split apart, and the music of the Lone Ranger, the theme, and the Lone Ranger shooting one train car, and the bad guy shooting the other train car, going back and forth, and going up top, and Johnny Depp's character with the ladder, going from here to there, and yes, it's not realistic, it's escapism, over the top, but it has a certain sense of urgency, sense of fun, sense of that old school, trying to be the cereal, not the cereal you eat, but cereal with an S, back in the day, like that type of fun adventure quality. The music really helps in that, and that's like the only time in the film where it's edited with a certain sense of urgency. It's a very fun scene. I would say I recommend more just watching that scene on YouTube than the entire movie. The 2.5-hour film. Because what this is, when this came out, was one of the biggest fucking flops of all time. I almost said hit, because Disney wanted it to be a hit. I could see the meeting right now. Gore Verbinski, the director who did the first couple Pirates of the Caribbean films. Johnny Depp, the star of them. Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced them. Disney, who released them. They all said, what can we do other than pirates? Is there something else? Well, there's the Lone Ranger, as well as Tonto. We made a blockbuster pirate film, let's make a blockbuster western film. Now granted, to me it's a dumb idea, because not many westerns make that much fucking money to cover the budget. How many blockbuster western hits have there been? Unforgiven was a hit, but how much money did it make compared to what the budget and the marketing for this film was? What western has come close to that? Cowboys and Aliens, which I love, that film flopped. Wild Wild West flopped. There's been some westerns that, like, I don't think Open Range with Kevin Costner flopped. I don't think True Grit flopped. But they weren't $300-400 million. They don't make the money that a superhero Marvel film makes. But on the flip side, look at a pirate film. Other than the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, how many Pirates films were hits? Think about it throughout the years. You have to go back to the days of Errol Flynn to find a pirate film that was a hit. But when Errol Flynn and those Pirates films were not being made anymore, look at the history of pirate movies. You had the film with Walter Matthau. That didn't make money. Yellowbeard. That didn't make money. Even the Michael Caine film, which dealt with evil pirates, The Island, which I enjoy that flick. Hell, Michael Caine gets a .50 caliber and kills a bunch of modern day pirates. Like he was fucking John Rambo. I like that film quite a bit, especially that ending. But that film didn't make money. Hook, I warmed up to a little bit throughout the years. I don't hate Hook, but I don't love it. But when Hook came out, it was deemed as a disappointment. I don't know if it was a flop, but it was deemed a disappointment because you had Steven Spielberg and Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. And compared to the budget and compared what they thought it was going to make, again, it was deemed a disappointment of a film. The Peter Pan film with what? Hugh Jackman? What was it? Hugh Jackman? Or was it someone else? It was like that film bombed, and that had pirates in it. No, Pan. I think it was called Pan. Yeah, it was just called Pan. That bombed big time. Cutthroat Island, of course. So that's what I mean. Most of these pirate films bombed, but then they went, you know what? Let's make a blockbuster pirate movie, and whoa, it was such a big hit. They made like what, 5 movies, and they thought they would do that for the Western. What they did for the pirate, they did for the Western. Didn't work out. Did not work out. And Gore Verbinski, I said this about the first Pirates of the Caribbean, which I like. I like the movie. But I said this before, I'll say it again. Gore Verbinski needs an editor. He's over-excessive. The Pirates films, over-excessive is the right word to describe them. More so in this. There's no reason this needs to be 2.5 hours long. You could edit this film down to 90 minutes and still keep what the plot was in the movie. For example, it begins, it ends, and throughout the film it goes back to the modern time, which is 1933, where this little kid wearing a Lone Ranger get-up enters this Wild West exhibit, I should say, sees a Native American display, which the theme says the Noble Savage, and it's Johnny Depp and this really bad old makeup that looks awful, doing stuff, getting the peanuts from the kid and giving him a dead mouse. Why we needed this, I have no fucking idea. You would have to let me know that. There's no reason for this. All it does is a begin and end in the movie where is Johnny Depp just, this is his job to stand still for 10 hours? Or it's supposed to be one of those where there's a certain fantasy element to this flick. There's a certain supernatural element to this flick. Does he have a fucking horse that will just, at one point, be in a fucking tree? At one point, be on top of a fucking barn? Because it deals with that. At one point, the Lone Ranger picks up a rock and he sees visions. Or he's the man who cannot be killed, or he cannot miss a shot. So again, it deals with the fantasy element as well. So I guess this is part of the fantasy element. Johnny Depp just magically appears to talk with his kid, then disappears. Because at the end, he walks, and the backdrop's like a painted desert. Then the next time we see him, he's in the real desert. So did he go into the backdrop? And it's supposed to be, I guess, this fanciful, magical. I don't know why this whole thing is needed. Every once in a while it pops in and the kid just asking, you and Lone Ranger weren't really bad guys, were you? Or, wait a minute, how did you get out of jail? You could edit all this out and it wouldn't change a fucking thing other than have better pacing. Stuff like that. And it just takes so long to get going. When the brother dies, was like the first big incident, the brother of the Lone Ranger, that's like 40 minutes into the movie. 40 fucking minutes. And Armie Hammer, the cannibals. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look online. Apparently Armie Hammer is a fucking cannibal. He must have loved this character William Fichtner plays, who eats hearts as if his Jason goes to fucking hell. Disney movie. But Johnny Depp tells his story as Tonto, and this is more Tonto's movie than The Lone Ranger, which makes, I mean, it's Johnny Depp playing Tonto. Because I guess Johnny Depp is part Native American. I don't know what part, but for what I understand, that's the case. I didn't give a shit about Johnny Depp's character of Tonto. I really didn't give a shit about Armie Hammer's The Lone Ranger, because The Lone Ranger was a pussy. He was a fucking sissy, with a capital sissy. He's a sissy. Blade, Wesley Snipes would call, you're just a sissy. You're a pussy. You know, just, Lone Ranger is a pussy. He's a pussy. And I get what they're trying to do is that, yeah, he's a pussy. He's a, you know, he's a sissy. But then throughout the film, he'll learn to be a man. I didn't buy that, though. I didn't buy that transition. I really did not. To me, he was always a fucking pussy. And I did not like this character. And again, I get it. There are things he does because he has a sense of justice. Don't just murder a criminal. Bring him to justice. I get that. I've seen that done better, though, in various movies. Here, I don't think it's done as well, because the way it's done just makes the lead a fucking moron. There's a point where Johnny Depp has William Fichtner, who by this point has murdered the Lone Ranger's brother and eaten the heart, which the Lone Ranger saw, because we see the reflection in his eye, William Fichtner, our villain, eating the brother's heart. As if it's fucking ravenous. Which is a better movie than this. And Armie Hammer just smacks Tonto in the head, in the back with a fucking shovel. And then by the end, they just kill William Fichtner anyway by having him run over by a fucking train. So, I'm sorry, there were better ways you could write and direct those scenes to make the Lone Ranger not much of a dumbass or as a pussy. So, even early on, when William Fichtner and Tonto's on this train, and there's a breakout to try to break out William Fichtner's character, Armie Hammer happens to be on the train. Johnny Depp's character has a gun on William Fichtner, who had a gun on Armie, was ready to kill him, but then Johnny Depp saves him and has a gun on the bad guy, and then Armie Hammer hits the gun out of the Tonto's hands. No, he's going to go to jail, justice. Maybe that one time you could forgive it, but then later on, when the motherfucker has killed your brother and eaten his heart, you lose me when you do it again of that nature. And like I said, this movie just so excessive and over-excessive. And it'll have scenes of, later on, hundreds of Native Americans get massacred through bullets by the military. I'm ready for them to be fucking Willem Dafoe from Platoon. But then earlier in the film, you have a fucking horse that they see in the fucking tree. That's a strange horse. Or they're dragging the unconscious Armie Hammer through horse shit. Literal, oh, how it's funny because he got dragged through horse shit. Or there's evil rabbits, CGI rabbits. They're eating rabbit, the dead rabbit they cooked up. They throw it, and these evil cannibal rabbits, CGI. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And oh, we need Helena Bonham Carter's character with a fake ivory leg with a shotgun in it. Okay, we have the scene where a barn's on fire and the horse is on the roof somehow. Because it's the spirit horse. We're in the spirit world, asshole. They can't see us. And again, he doesn't want to kill William Fichtner, but then when he shoots and it hits this beam, lands on these two people, and crushes their heads. Literally, there's a scene where the two guys are laying there, and the beam is right here, and their heads are crushed, like flat, like nothing left. So you're okay with doing that, but not killing William Fichtner. You just crushed these two kids' head like it's an Acme maroon cartoon. You know, they wander around the desert. They get caught by the Native Americans. You get a bit of backstory of Tonto when he was a kid. Then they're buried to their heads. You get these CGI scorpions. Again, Lone Ranger just a fucking sissy. Then you have the massacre of the Native Americans. But meanwhile, Lone Ranger and Tonto doing this humorous scene with this trolley going back and forth where Lone Ranger's tied up and Tonto's pumping it. I forget what that's called. The seesaw, the type of thing. And soon after, that's when the horse is in the fucking tree. I mean, wait a minute. 5 minutes ago, we just had a massacre of 100 Native Americans. Now we have a joke of a horse being in the fucking tree and Johnny Depp going, "That was one strange horse." Is that really the right vibe you're getting at when, again, 5 minutes ago, we just had 100 innocent Native Americans murdered by the army? I said this movie doesn't need to be 2.5 hours. The scene with the train, the dueling trains. One's facing this way, one's facing this way. They're going. The split of the tracks. They're both on the side. Then both going around here. And they're going from one train to the other. It's over the top, yes. That's an excessive that worked in this. That amount of excessiveness. It had the right balance. And again, throughout the rest of the film, you're wondering, where the fuck is this movie going? Where the fuck is this movie going? It's like trying to have... imagine a 6-episode show. Trying to edit it into a fucking movie. And then let's have this 1933 kid, old as Johnny Depp, as a fucking wraparound to link up all the episodes together. That's what it felt like. It felt like a mini-series. No, I take that back. There are mini-series that felt shorter than this. Stephen King's It, which is 3 hours, felt shorter than this movie. But the stuff with the trains, with the Lone Ranger music, and for people who like this film, no, I'm not going to this film expecting realism. That scene is totally unrealistic, but it's fun, and it feels like the energy of what a Lone Ranger film should be. The kid throwing the silver bullet and him catching it, boom, shoots around. I mean, that one scene really, honestly, add in a 5-minute ending to that scene, add in maybe a 10-minute opening, have be a 25-minute short movie that you show it to the people before your presentation of whatever other flick. Yeah, truly, this could have been like a 30-minute film. The brother dies, he wants revenge, meets Tonto. Say 15-20 minutes of that, boom, 10-minute scene, boom, the end. All this other shit, it's not needed. Just completely not needed. It was boring, it was slow. Armie Hammer, fucking, whether he's a cannibal or not, I didn't give a shit about his character. Terry just came off as a sissy to me. Tonto, it was more Tonto's movie. They should have just been called Tonto, not the Lone Ranger. Should have just been called Tonto. It's almost as bad as the fucking Green Hornet movie, which I think is funny. I think in lore, Lone Ranger and Green Hornet are related. I believe that's the case. That's why they both have the similar mask and they both have a sidekick. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I think the Lone Ranger and Green Hornet are somewhat related. William Fichtner is the villain. Seems like he's from a different film. As one person I saw said it. It seemed like he's in a spaghetti western while, this is a Disney movie. Barry Pepper. Which that must suck for him, because he's in two of the biggest bombs, Battlefield Earth and this movie. Barry Pepper. But it wasn't his fault. Helena Bonham Carter, she's fine. I don't think her character was needed. It really wasn't needed. Her with the ivory late, that's another thing. You could just cut all that out and it wouldn't change much. Oh, she needs to shoot the dynamite. Have the Lone Ranger shoot the dynamite. He's the one with the expert shot. He shoots the dynamite. Tonto's on the train. Boom. You didn't need her. You didn't need the wraparound. You didn't need the kid. Even the end credits is Johnny Depp walking through the desert. He's walking through the desert. He's walking through the desert. He's walking through the desert as the credits go. He's walking through the desert. And then he walks through the desert. And then the movie ends. What was the point of that? For your end credits, just have Johnny Depp walk across the desert. Is anything going to happen? Is anything going to result? Is it going to be some Easter egg? No. Just him walking through the desert. Pointless. Just like a lot of this fucking movie. Pointless. Fucking pointless. Fucking pointless. It wants to have goofy stuff like evil CGI rabbits and horses in trees, and then it wants to have a villain that eats hearts as if he's fucking Robert Carlyle from Ravenous. It wants to be to try to take the Lone Ranger seriously, but so much of the movie is such a fucking pussy and a sissy that I think, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog could get the shit out of him. I'm just looking at random movies. The Three Stooges could get the shit out of fucking Lone Ranger. Again, they wanted to have a Pirates film. I don't think that works with the Lone Ranger. But I know a lot of people liked it. Hell, Quentin Tarantino put this in his 10 favorite films of that year. But I think Gore Verbinski, he needs an editor. He's a guy who thinks everything he does, every shot, every moment, is classical. But in my opinion, he needs a fucking editor. He needs an editor. Not every shot is worth it. Not every plot point is worth it. I know you're trying to make your idea of an epic, but then it became an epic fail. Whether you like the film or not, it was a huge bomb at the box office. And I can perfectly understand why. Just my opinion. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Feel free to watch the train scene on YouTube. Just to me, that's the only thing worth the shit in this. Again, you'll have scenes where early on they're on another train, early in the film, and they fly off and CGI land, and then land and they're perfectly fine, and then the train's like, shh, and then just trying to be so big and longer and longer and longer, the action scene. Oh, they fly off and the CGI land, and they land and they're perfectly fine, but then, okay, it's supposed to be escapism, you're not supposed to take it seriously, but then you have a massacre of a bunch of Native Americans, so I guess we're supposed to take it seriously, but no, then you have a horse in a fucking tree, I guess we're not supposed to take it seriously, but then yeah, it's like, fuck, man. Whatever. See you guys later. Bye-bye.